Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we will learn about Xpath in Selenium. So till now we are using very basic Xpaths in our complete project, but now we will learn some advanced use of Xpaths. This is very important topic to learn because whenever you're working on projects, it might possible we are not able to find an element through some basic Xpaths. So we have to learn and we have to apply these advanced XPath there. Okay, so in the notepad, I have already written down what are the XPaths we are covering today, so that even if we learn today about single attribute XPath, multi-attribute, how to use a text XPath, and how do we use contains, start with, following, and preceding. So we will go them one by one, and by the end of this video, you will be able to recognize what are the XPaths which we have, and by practice, you would be able to find the XPath of any element on a web page. All right, so let me open some website here. So I will go through a Facebook website. We will try our XPath here. All right, so we can see here on the Facebook, there are many elements given. And if I do a right click and click on inspect, so I'm able to get the source code of that element. All right. In order to find XPath, I will do Control F. Okay. And here I can type my XPath. So for a single attribute which we're using till now, so if you see, it is an input and its type equal to email. So what I can do, I can give a double slash for a relative XPath, and I am not giving absolute XPath. That's the reason I have given double slash, and I can give input. All right. So once you type input here, if you see that there are 40 elements which are of the input type. So what I need to do, I need to filter out the one which I need. So I want this. Okay, let me go back to this again with the inspect. So I want to go to this. All right. And its input type is email. So for any attribute, like its type equal to email, for any attribute, I need to give a bracket, then at the rate, and then I will give type equal to email. All right, so it is able to find this unique element. You will see it is one of one given here, and if I move my mouse pointer, it highlights the text box. So this is a single attribute which we say. All right, so its type is email. Let's see some other attribute. There's another attribute called class, and its value is input text. So instead of type, let me give class now. Type class equal to input text. Input text. All right. So if you see here, it has find two element of this. So it is not unique, but as you know in Selenium, we should have a unique element so that we can perform some operation. See, it's going to first the email or phone, and then it's going to a password. All right. So whenever I hit on enter, I can see there are two elements given. So what we need to do now in Selenium, it is possible that we can give two attributes at the same time for a single tag. Let's say its class is input text, and assume that the type email is not there. Okay, and if I go with classes input text, I have two elements. So if I see its name is email, correct? The first one. And if I see the second name is password, so I can concatenate these two attributes, that is class and name. I can give an end condition between the two. So for giving the end condition, what I need to do, once my bracket get closed, I need to give another bracket, and here I can give again at the rate name equal to email. Okay, so see, it has uniquely identified my element. All right, so we are using an end condition here. And there is one more way to give the end condition. What I need to do, I can remove these two brackets and I can give end in between. So still it is finding the unique element. Okay. Now, Sometimes there's a requirement that instead of using the and, we have to use the or condition. That if my element or if my locator has this attribute or this attribute, that is fine, and I should be able to find that element. Okay, so maybe as it says that name equal to email. All right, so we see name equal to email or type equal to email. So in both of the way, I need to find my element. So I will just give here at the rate type equal to email. All right. So now it has find the unique element. So what is happening here? Let's assume in my web page, sometime type equal to email is coming up and sometime name equal to email is coming up. So if I give here something like or, okay, so what will happen? So even if, one of the element I'm not getting, it should be able to find that. Let me see if I can edit that out. Let me remove this type. Okay. Okay, and now let me go back, inspect, and if you see, now there is no type here. Okay, there is only an email. Okay, name equal to email, then also it is able to find that element. So we can use the or condition also, we can use the and condition also in our locators in the XPath. All right, so if we see in the notepad, we have covered single attribute, we have covered the multi attribute through with and or. And now we can see how we can use the text method. Okay, and how the text method works. Let's see, I want to find this element, or I want to find this element whose text is password. Okay, so what I need to do, I can give here inside the bracket, I can come and I can give text equal to password. Okay, let me see if I have done any mistake. Password. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, so it should be equal to here. Okay, so I think something is wrong in this label, maybe we are giving. Let me check what is the tag it is. So it is label, it's not input. So I have to give label here. All right. So see, when I have given double slash label is text equal to password, then it is able to find that text. But the limitation of this is I need to give my complete text password here. Okay. If I give something like PASS, it will not be able to find it. Okay, so what happened sometime we have a requirement that we have only a partial text sometime. Okay, because sometime it's possible that my text is too long or some of the portion of my text is changing dynamically, so I need to give some constant value there. So I cannot give PASS here, my text is not working. Okay, and it also might possible in some of the attributes. So we have just talked about text. Okay, let's assume our attribute. Let me show you here. Let me remove everything here. Okay, so if you see, this is my attribute, which is an input class, input text, name and ID equal to email. So what happened these days in few of the websites, some values get dynamically changed. Dynamically changed means, example, right now you can see ID equal to email, but the next time you will load the page, it will show something like ID equal to email 1. And every next time when you load the page, something is getting changed for an attribute. So if my XPath is something like this, it's input at the rate ID equal to email. All right. So this time it is able to find it, and we can write our code also, but may possible when you perform an automation. So if your page is changing the elements dynamically, it may possible next time instead of email, it give email 1 here, okay, or email 001 here. So in that kind of scenario, this element will not work because it is email 001. Maybe next time when somebody launches a website, they get email 003 uh, text here inside the attribute. So these are called the dynamic elements. Okay, and how to handle that? Instead of giving a complete email, or instead of giving a complete value like email 001, I can give some partial like EMA. Okay, and that is possible only through a contains method. So let me show you how contains method work. So here is the input. Now I can type contains. Okay, and we have to put a bracket here, and here I can give anything. I can give some attribute value, or I can even call some other functions like text, but right now I will give the attribute value. Okay, so it's contain and my attribute is at the rate id. All right, and instead of equal to here, I need to give comma, and then I need to give a quote. And now what I want that my id contains ema. Okay, so I will give ema, and then put the I will just close this colon, and then I will put a bracket here to end the function, and then I will put a square bracket. Okay, so if you see, this contains method is also even to find ema. And next time if my page loads, even if the name is email 003 or email 0010, it should be able to find this element and my scripts will never get failed. All right, and the same way we have used for the ID. Let's say this time I am going for the label. Okay, so instead of input, now I am going for label, and here, because in the label this is the text, and if I want to give a partial text, then I need to use again contains. Okay, which will look for the partial thing, and under contains I am giving my text. All right, and for text I can give comma here because now I am looking for text. I am looking for text email or em. Okay, and then I can just close this, and I can put a square bracket. See, so now our contains method is calling another method called text, and it is looking for the partial text. Okay, so this is the way we can use our contains and text method. All right, so we have covered single attribute, multi-attribute, text method, and contains method, and also contains text method. In case you are confused or you want to revisit again, you can always go back to the video and see how this text contains and contains text method works, because these are the very important method I would say in XPath. And while working on the projects, you have to use or you would be using these kinds of methods. Okay, now there are a few more things onto XPath which sometimes we don't use much, but it's always better to have a knowledge of that, because sometime when the other things are not working, for example the start with, following, or proceeding, this can help us to locate an element. Okay, so what we can do now, we can use a start with function. Okay, so like the way we have used contains, there's another method called start with. All right, so I can give here starts, and then there is a with. Okay, and what I need to give here I can give an attribute like id. All right, and I want my id is starting with em. All right, so give me this bracket. Let me just go to this inspect element again, and my ID is equal to email. I have given start with bracket. Let me just write again. Starts with. Okay. Okay. So I have given ID and now want to start with EM. Okay. Let me see what is the issue here. It's not able to find it. Okay. So here's the mistake again. So what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to get the label, but I have to get the input box. So I will say input. See? So now what it will do, this tag start with will be able to find an ID, its ID is a start with EM. Okay, so even if my numbers are getting changed, like email 001, email 002, every time the browser launches, if my ID is getting changed, if my ID is dynamic, then also my start with will work. Okay, so before it was not able to find because we have given label here, so we just have to make sure our tag is correct when we are giving the XPath. Okay, if sometime you don't have to give any specific tag, you can even type star here, so it can look for everything, like it can look for input, it can look for label, everything. But if you know that tag is already there, it's always better to give a tag because then your search will be faster. All right, now let's go to another one, and now we have following. So let me find a table first. See, sometime what happen when we are trying to find an element directly through our code, even though your element name is correct, sometime our Selenium code is not able to find it. There can be many reasons why Selenium code is not able to find it. I have seen practically sometime that when the developer is creating a web page, they create two text boxes. One text boxes, they are used as an overlay on the another text box. For some reason, maybe that is not visible, or maybe that text box they are not using anymore. But because in the development there were two text boxes, we are not able to click on the text boxes which we want. So if you find an element through direct by this way, sometime you will not be able to find it, and you will not know that why I am always getting an exception in Selenium code. So in those kinds of scenario, what we can do, instead of directly finding the element, we go to some other element which our code is able to find it, and then we call following or preceding, so that we can just go to that element, and whatever element is following that element, we click on that. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say this is an input class, input text, this one. Okay, let's say our Selenium code is not able to find it through any way. Even that our locator is correct, we are not able to click on that element. So in those kinds of scenario, what we can do, we will go to this locator, that is table. We will go to this tag. So I can go to this table. Okay, now what I need to do, I have to go following whatever the input box is, following table, I need to give that. So I will put a slash here, and I can just copy it from here. Okay, so I will type following, then I will give this I will give this colon mark twice, and after that I can give input. Okay, so if you see, after that table, it is going to all the inputs. All right, and maybe I can give one here. So if you see now, only one input it is going. Okay, it is going to the this one. All right, so this is the way we can use the following part, so that first we can go to some locator, and then we can go to locator following that. All right, now there is another tag called preceding. So it's the same way we have used following, we can go preceding also. Let's say I have given something like here. Okay, And now what I want to do, I want to go the previous one. So I can call preceding, okay, and here I can again give input. All right. So what we are doing right now, I'm going to a table in the XPath, then I'm going to following input tag, the third tag, okay, and then I'm going to preceding input, and here I can maybe give a first tag. Okay, so these are some kind of a XPath which we have to use in our project when we are not able to directly find an element. Even if your XPath is correct, you will not be able to do any operation on that element. It depends upon how that element has been developed, because sometime of a wrong development or maybe some kind of a overlay coming up on that text boxes, we have to use these kinds of XPath also, like preceding or following. Okay, so these are all the XPath which we have used in this video. So even this, don't assume that after watching this video, you will be able to find the XPath correctly, because XPath takes time. So you have to practice. The more you practice, the more expert you will become in XPath. And once you become an expert in finding an XPath, you will not get any issues while you're working on a project, because finding a locator is very important part of any automation. Okay, because most of the time people spend on automation is maintaining, and maintenance is most of the time is of locators. Sometimes they find a locator which works at that time because the locator is dynamic. It get changed onto the next launch, and that locator does not work. So in one sprint maybe that get work, but in next sprint or maybe in next development it does not get works because it get changed. So it's always better to find the unique locator which you think can work for you. And this is the way you can save a lot of time of yours. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, please subscribe. Thank you.